All right, we are live again on another Thursday with the Triple Profits Podcast. I'm Marcus Harris, and I got my guys, the guru, Devontae Hughes, and the champ of real estate.
You know what it is. You know what it is.
So, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited about this topic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because we just come off the hip, but today we're talking about making $500 a day in businesses that aren't quite that sexy. And just to kind of throw it out there, man, when people looking to start their own business, they may end up like looking at multi-level marketing agencies. People make candles. People, my wife did like body scrubs. You look at everyday items. They think of a product as a business, but there are businesses out there that you may not even think of.
Yeah.
But you can bring home some nice cheese at the end of the day, man.
Right. I think social media definitely helps with that. Like with a lot of these people that are, either showing that they're earning something or, these new, no knock on the current guru, but these new technically, these gurus that are out there pushing their product. I didn't want to, say it's Devontae, I don't want you to think it was a jab at you, but those other people out there, you know what I'm saying? Those other people out there that claiming to be gurus or whatnot that are selling, whether be selling courses, but there's so many things out there that are the new flashy thing. I think people look for what feels easy, or like you said, what feels that's going to bring them a quick flow of cash instantly, or a large amount of cash instantly. So they want to focus on that thing versus focusing on something like you said that brings in a consistent $500 a day, but isn't something you necessarily show off online every
day. Yeah. I think that like you guys are saying, initially when you're thinking about a business, you're thinking about it from a consumer standpoint because you're not really a business owner at that point. You're kind of still in the mode of being a consumer or recognizing things that maybe you would do from your standpoint. And you're thinking about those exciting things because consumers like, oh, this is cool, it's exciting, oh, this is different, but the normal basic stuff, like Marcus was saying, is not sexy, can be very, very, very valuable, especially when it's services that are highly, highly needed that are not just sexy. They're not sexy at all,
So, man, let's name the businesses, man. What are we talking about that can get you, basically $2,500 a week? I've got one. I do the appliance repair business. And right out the gate, I tell you, this is one where the numbers made sense to me. But when I told people I'm going to be doing appliance repair, they're like, what the heck are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I was one of those people.
Then he kind of stared at me, and I was like, "Man, I'm gonna make $1 million doing this, man." And he was like, "Okay, who is this guy?"
I remember even when you was talking to, I was like, Marcus, it sounds good because I know you like tinkering with stuff, but I don't know how to fix no dryer. No, you know what I'm saying? So I find it on YouTube. Like, how are we gonna be going in like thinking at a very low level? But no. So you go ahead, finish your report. Like to me, I was definitely viewing it at a low level and not seeing it as, even though my washer dryer refrigerator isn't broken, there's a ton of people out there that need that every day.
Yes. So and it goes right into it, right? These businesses, they exist where there's big demand. It's usually a skilled trade or something that the large population needs where there's not a lot of people providing the service, right? That's where Devontae got into the game.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Same thing. Transportation is a huge, huge need. Especially for those people who are in the elderly group. We all know there are two groups of people that really move society as far as markets. That is, the elderly group and like the youngsters, the people that are like really moving to things. And my group really is people who are in the elderly range, seniors, or people who are sick. And unfortunately, people who are sick are not going away. They're just not going away. So when you can provide that service for free, then you have, that's two great, like three combinations right there. It's a free service. It's for people who are going to be in mass, they're getting older and they need services, seniors, and people who are not well, like huge audience, right? So, it's really, really, I'm not going to say that you're going to start and you're going to make a lot of money off the bat. I think my business is not successful as Marcus's right now, but with duplication, it is definitely possible this business could be a multi-million-dollar business with just dedication, consistency. It's not sexy, sexy at all. It ain't sexy. I'm driving around a big ass damn van. It ain't sexy. I'm not, I'm not driving a Tesla, and driving around business people. I'm driving around seniors who in wheelchairs,
Right.
But the business is definitely a very, very profitable one with duplication. Definitely excited about that.
Man, I tell you, I had a guy, I was getting quotes and stuff for my pool to get my pool service. And he was like, yeah, I do over 200 pools, service 200 pools. And you think about that, right? Because I'm in an area where there's a lot of pools. If you're charging $120 a pool, man, you collecting.
Right.
But it's not sexy. You clean the pool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take that back. Pool guys do get a lot of play. You know what I'm saying?
This is not the movies, man.
Those are movie plots. I was just gonna say that. Those are movie plots. Oh man, you thinking about your favorite movie, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Devontae. Always trying to make a movie. But yeah, no, that's a perfect point. Like you said, you're essentially checking chemicals, scooping out leaves, making sure a pump works, whatever the case may be. But you out in the sun doing that,
Man, it is not sexy work at all.
Right. Right.
And it comes with I don't know, man. It's like repetitiveness. Those type of businesses, they're repetitive. You really have constant work. So that's the good and the bad, right? The good thing is you always have work. The bad thing is you always have work.
It never goes away. It never goes away.
I think for those people who are looking for an exciting thing, it could be very boring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It could be very, very, very boring. I totally get it because, I'm thinking about the excitement of money, the excitement of business, right? And these things, it would just blow your mind to say, okay, that you're going to do this business that really doesn't fit the idea of what you think a successful business is going to be. Mm-hmm. But what you're looking for, there's probably a reason why people are not successful, because they're looking for these exciting businesses versus looking for the consistent flow, the boring, the highly needed. You're not going to be a superstar. I'm not going to be like Devontae saved the world because he's providing transportation for seniors. Although all my clients love me, they think I saved their life. They're so grateful for me because I get there on time and I'm pretty consistent. I communicate. It ain't sexy, but it works.
Man, it's not what and I think about even the appliance repair business. To your point, we get the same type of responses when we go to people's homes that we haven't got this level of communication, customer service, etc. And if you think about it, the people who are in the business and it's not oversaturated, they kind of get lazy with what they're doing because they have so much business that, it's just like, do I take this
Easy.
call today? I'm not going to show up because I don't feel like it.
And who are they going to call anyway?
Exactly. And over time, it when you're in these type of businesses, you get kind of coddled in that, you make your money, that's it, and you don't really have to do anything. You live a pretty good life once you get ramped up, but it's scalable. I think that was the biggest thing when you go into these business revenues, when your transactions, can be, $50, $100, $200, whatever per transaction. Then you think about it, well, okay, I have to get a couple of those transactions. You have to do the work, but these are like low kind of skill set businesses where you just really need a customer service base, understanding on how to do the job, and a way to teach and train, repeat.
Yes. Yeah.
That's exactly because I think about scaling my business. I'm always talking to my admin about the systems we put in place and how what I'm doing right now is building those systems. So my experience as performing the work right now, and all we do in scheduling, how we communicate, how we communicate with customers, what trips we take, what trips we don't take, what areas we work in, what areas we don't work in, what kind of software we use, what kind of ways do we do the billing, what kind of ways do we track and make sure that our drivers will get paid. All these things is going to be like, I just stick somebody in the system. They can drive and they can smile. They can do the job. Yep. Just want you to drive and smile.
Right.
How was your day? Was your day good? Okay, small conversation. Drive, smile, say yes, ma'am, yes, sir. I always say yes, ma'am, yes, sir, every single time. And drive and smile.
Repeat, rinse, repeat.
Repeat, exactly.
Yeah, I know. I knew somebody out here, like you said, Marcus and I, we have a lot of pools. We got a lot of solar. And so we got a lot of houses that have solar. So one of the escrow companies I use, her son had basically like started a business of just cleaning people's solar equipment. You know what I mean? And literally like you said, he started off, learn what he needed to learn, figured out, got the solution he needed to go out there and clean it, and just start knocking on people's doors. Hey, I'll clean your solar for this much amount, and slowly built it up. You know what I mean? But was charging like $50 to $100 a house. And like I said, it's a huge market for solar, and out here in the summer, don't nobody want to be outside. So somebody, for somebody that has that money and has that, naturally they have that solar, they have that problem, they're going to pay somebody to go handle that. They're going to pay somebody to get up on that roof and do that because they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to risk falling off the roof. So they're going to pay somebody to go up there and do it for them. And he just scaled it up like that, slowly but surely. And it was a grind. It was not sexy, but you know what I mean? Like if he's thinking about it in the hustle mentality, if he gets 5 to 10 people, he's making $500 to $1,000 a day just off that. So like once again, very dirty, very hot, sweaty work, but something, to your point earlier, like you said, you can build, you can scale. And I believe he's worked himself out of the business now where he doesn't have to get on a roof. You know what I mean? He's basically paying somebody else to do it. But it's something that's extremely doable because, like I said, in an area, really essentially with companies or businesses like that you're building, you're really solving a problem. You're solving a problem. It isn't a huge one-stop problem. It's a problem that a lot of people have consistently. And that's what you want. Something you can find something like that to fix somebody's problem consistently that a lot of people have, even though you aren't having it right now. If you think about it, like, yeah, everybody that has solar is going to have this issue. Everybody has appliances in their house that are going to break down. Everybody knows somebody old that's going to need transport or sick that may need transport. Even though it may not be somebody in my family, I know somebody else that may need it. Everybody's car is going to break down. They're going to need a tow at one point. Stuff like that, if you can, start thinking of just literally just think of a problem that you sit there and deal with, or you may be dealing with right now, and then think like, hey, has my mom ever complained about this, or has my sister ever had this issue? And just slowly thinking, the more people you think that you know that had that issue, just think of the grand scale of how many other people have had that same issue.
Yeah, locksmith, you know,
Plumbers.
plumbers.
Oh man, that's not sexy at all, but they get paid.
Kind of shitty.
It is.
Hey, you be knee deep in the shit, yes.
Man, yeah, you may have 2-3 toilets in your house, man.
Real one pipe go bad, the whole thing messed up. So that's another one, man. Like all of those things are just things that are issue, that sprinkler systems, stuff like that. Like that's something that's always an issue. That, like I said, if you can tap in or get into that, like, and you can turn that into a very easy to scale business.
Yeah, sprinkler system. Oh gosh. Yeah, man. My guy, he does my lawn, he did my sprinkler head change out, man. It was one of those things. It's like, and you think about these jobs, a lot of these jobs, it's not like you can't do the job. It's just that
You don't want to.
you don't want to do it.
Exactly. You put your time, you probably putting your time somewhere else.
Exactly. I don't want to spend the time going to Home Depot to learn about sprinkler heads, to be able to change it out, to buy the right pipe, to set it and do it one time. You know, these are the jobs that exist, right? So, but it's and everybody, if you live in California area in the Central Valley, the majority of the houses, especially newer builds, they have sprinkler systems. Mm-hmm. And if you got a kid growing up learning how to drive, you're gonna change out a couple of sprinkler heads.
At least them two by the 2 to 4 by the driveway, depending on how your driveway is set up. The top 2 and then bottom 2, especially the bottom 2, gonna get gone.
Yeah. That's the strategy, right? You wake up, you sit at the end of the block at 7 a.m. or a couple of blocks, and you look and see the kids pull out the driveway. As you go, you mark, all right, they're gonna need a couple. Leave a thing in the flyer in there.
Right.
You can say,
I like how you first though, I like how you thought that far ahead, like you was really ready to make a sprinkler system business. Like you gonna scout the neighborhood and see who got a young kid. I like that. That's smart though.
Why not? Like, yeah, they're going to school. This house.
Yeah, exactly. Sir, would you like your sprinkler heads changed?
When you do, give us a call.
How'd you know? Yeah. But damn, yeah. I think that's a great place to start. If you're out there and you don't know what type of business to start, or you want to think of getting into, just think of those everyday solutions. Think of everyday solutions. Think of things that need an everyday solution, and just start writing those down. You know, because like how Devontae was saying, I know everybody wants to go for the sexy thing. Like I know, like you see a lot of people getting into real estate right now. I don't know. I think everybody should use real estate at some point in their lifetime to be a wealth generator. Like,
yes,
one of the biggest and best ways to do that, whether you're handing down equity or you're building your own equity and creating, building your own rental portfolio and building cash flow. There's so many ways to do it in real estate. That's why I totally underdo it. And the checks look really, really nice. But also understand this market goes like this. And some people are going to make it through it and some people aren't going to make it through it. Hopefully, if you get into it, that ain't your issue, but it can be a volatile thing to deal with. But I think if you're really trying to be an entrepreneur, you want to have multiple vehicles. You want to have multiple flows of income coming in. So, figuring that out and adding to that, or, like I said, real estate may not be your thing too. Yeah. Real estate might not be the sexy thing that you're into. So it may be something else sexy that you're into, where it be selling tummy tea or whatever the other case may be. Like, that stuff can be, like lucrative, and it looks sexy because when you see somebody pumping it that's been successful with it, it looks beautiful online. But there are a bunch of businesses out there that have an opportunity to really, really create an income stream for you, but nobody's talking about them because they aren't appealing. They aren't something you want to you don't want to show, like how Devontae said, plumbing ain't sexy. Nobody want to see a plumber online. You know,
Oh, house cleaning.
Like,
House cleaning.
house cleaning.
House cleaning.
Huge one.
Oh, yeah.
Huge one.
Huge. Walking dogs.
I was thinking that one earlier.
Cleaning dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Shampoo, pet maintenance. It's not sexy, but man,
And that's a huge market too, Savante.
huge market.
People spend billions on their animals every year. So that's another huge market. It's something. It's definitely something, you know, like what you could be a mobile care service.
Man,
Those people that, you know,
car
Mhm.
detailing.
Car detail is another huge one too.
hmm It's just although I think, and I love it because I think all the things that we're kind of bringing up require some type of grit. You're gonna have to some grit to get it off the ground and get it moving. You know what I mean? It's gonna be, you're gonna have some very long nights. This is just a heads up to y'all. Y'all gonna have some long nights. Some, you know what I mean? Maybe some stressful days. You can ask Marcus. My boy. I'll let you talk. I'll let you tell him if you want to, but Marcus talks, we talk a few
I
times
pass.
a week. And but you know, I think like we said earlier, that's just something that's part of the business, part of the game. But you know, these things starting off, they're going to be ugly, especially if you're the one that's getting it off the ground. You're going to be one doing a lot of the legwork until you can scale it up and hire somebody. But all of these can be lucrative if your goal is to build your own business or to get out of the current job or whatever it is that you're doing now. Do something passionate, like just start writing that down. Writing those problems down and writing down solutions, and you can figure out what works for you.
And let's talk about that a little bit too, kind of give them some examples of scaling. So I'll talk about the appliance repair, right? Because it's something that I'm right in the middle of scaling out. And, you know, people ask me where I'm like, hey, we've done quite well over the last year, but at the very beginning, it took a little while to get going. We can go out there and we can bring in $500 a day, right, from repairing appliances. But at the very beginning, you're only going to have so many clients. So $500 may be your max. Mm-hmm. So now you got to pay somebody else. Plus, you got to pay all the overhead and things like that. So you may walk away with $20 at the very beginning. So when you're scaling your business, once you get to $500 a day, it's a strategy on how far are you booked out. So when you're doing a service, how far are you booked out, or what's your demand for your service? So when you can get to a point where you're booked out double the time that exists. So if you're constantly 2 days booked out solid, if you hire and train a person, it's going to take a while for it to scale up. So that doesn't mean you're going to make double the money right away. No. It just means you're going to have extra overhead and 2 days booked out still until they're confident enough to go out on their own. So now instead of 2 days booked out, you're back at square one where you're making, your $500 a day plus they're going out making $500 a day minus, all expenses. Mm-hmm. So it's a big dip. Like, man, I want to get that full 1,000, but now you got to pay somebody. You're losing time. You have extra resources. So maybe your $500 could be 1,000, but instead you're taking 600. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And over time, as efficiencies go up, that 600 may turn to 700, 750 if it's running optimum. But if you scale and you do it right, you have systems in place as people come on. So now you're 4 days booked out with 2 people. In your mind, okay, it's time for me to at least bring in one other person. We can split the job. So now that 700 can turn back into $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
So it's patience. Right on.
When did you feel it was time to scale for you? And I was gonna say, and how can people avoid scaling too early?
Oh man, I think scaling realistically, you got to know what you want at the end of the day. So my objective going into this was to scale. So I didn't need the money to come in to be able to support myself. My objective was to start a business, scale a business, and be at a certain threshold to be able to live off of. Right. So the first, man, every time I got a little profit, I hired more people, I bought more tools, I bought more vans and stuff like that. So I wasn't concentrating on taking in any profits at all. Because I know if I take everything that I would have made, put it back into hiring, expanding, taking more calls, once everything optimizes and it gets to a certain level, all that net is just going to be there. So instead of taking $2,000 a month, I'm just going to take that $2,000 reinvested in somebody else who I can pay, train, and turn that 2,000 into 4,000. Turn that 4,000 into 8,000. So to answer your question, I came in knowing that I wanted to scale to at least get to about $500,000 before I say, okay, now it's time to be able to collect some of the profits. And that's my strategy. So once we hit that point, now I'm like, okay, I don't have to reinvest everything. So this year I'm not reinvesting everything in. It's how do I scale using business credit, my personal credit that I have, and making things work where I can leverage and get vans and things like that. So like I had the day in November where I was able to secure 6 vehicles for $500. Right. And you can't do that without understanding personal credit, business credit, and having a strategy going into that, history, things of that nature. So now, I was able to walk in there, be able to secure 6 vehicles, got 3 right away, 3 on order. So these are new vehicles, not used ones. Right. And, down the line, I'm going to be able to put 6 more bodies in these vehicles. Whereas before I would have had to spend, 18, 20 grand per vehicle.
Per vehicle. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's just different at that point.
That's totally, and that made you went into it with a totally different mindset. Some people are going to go into building the business and they're going to be feeding themselves almost off that business possibly, So it's going to almost be a fear for them to maybe scale up possibly.
Yes. And that's what I was going to say, man. Most people go into the mindset of, they want a helper, right? Somebody who can potentially do something when I'm not there.
Right. That's good. Yeah.
And when they're not getting the return, then they're like, okay, I'm just losing money because I got somebody just, I'm paying. It's because they hire them to put them in a support role instead of hiring them to replace
them. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's it.
I like that. Dang.
That's it.
Because you touched on where some of that comes from. Maybe that fear comes from, or that very like putting themselves in the business pretty much. Like they're overly attached at that point. They're stuck in the business.
And rightfully so, right? Because it's their livelihood.
Right.
I know Tavante, man. Tavante got to get somebody in that vehicle, right?
Yeah.
He got to switch up the game. But Tavante, they love Tavante, man. They love you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not that attached to them though. I'm not. It's funny because a lot of my clients they will say, what are we gonna do when you get someone new? And I tell them they're gonna be trained by me. They're gonna be just like me. They just won't be me. Right. So I'm actually not. That's not a part that I don't think I'm nervous about that part because I've seen that what you're talking about. I've seen that part where people just want to be the business, and I tell my admin, I don't want to be the face of the business. I'm not a good guy. I'm a bad person. I am. I do some inappropriate stuff. If I'm the face of this business is gonna have a horrible reputation. No.
God.
This can't be me. This can't be the face. This can't be the face of this. Like it's gotta be bigger than you. It's gotta be, and I catch myself like even initially when you're going from that stage of like Mark is talking about, from where you used to do a job yourself, you would do it yourself, right? You do the job yourself, and you're trying to possibly replace you. You're gonna have to let your ego, you got to like slit your ego's throat, because there are gonna be times when you're gonna be like thinking, this person's not doing a great job. They're not doing this like I want them to do. And that should be the language. The language should be, the reason why they're not doing what I'm asking them to do is because something's wrong with the system, or something's wrong with the way I've designed things where they don't understand what to do. And you have to keep taking that responsibility. Otherwise, the business is gonna die, and you're gonna go with it. You because every problem is a new way of leveling your business up. You know, my admin and I, we have communication issues sometimes. You know, I'll say one thing and then I'll go back and then I'm like, hey, we discussed this and she still did this. Why did this happen? And we had to have some frank conversations. Not like I'm going off on her, but just like, hey, you know, why did you think it was okay to do that? And she's like, well, because I think, you know, you took this person before. Like, yeah, I know, you know, I took them before, but, you know, remember we had this conversation, we're going to focus on these areas, and we just had to keep, and it's not like I'm mad at her at all. It's more, the conversation is more like a very light one, like, it's, you know, like, no, we're going to keep focusing on these areas. So you got to keep training and training and training and training and training until it's down. And then when the system is running well and it's running smooth, when you transition again, it fucks it all up again. You got to train and train and train and train and train. There's always going to be, like right now, we're going through a transition right now where I have ambulatory patients right now, which means that they can get by on a walker or by just walking themselves. And I purchased a van, and I had a passenger vehicle I was using before, so I was doing all ambulatory. And we were excited about this wheelchair because the rates are higher and we can work less harder, right? We can get more of the money.
Yep.
It brings us closer to being profitable, okay? And so now we're doing a little bit of both. We're doing like 4 or 5 wheelchair and like 4 or 5 ambulatory. And the transition right now is that our schedules are kind of conflicting. And we have to be a little bit more flexible on how we take trips. And I noticed that I was being too careful and trying to get everything right. That's another thing you got to get through with business. You didn't come to get the shit right. You came to do it.
Yes.
You came to do it. You got to make a decision. It got to be the right decision. Just make a fucking decision and then go with it and then just swing it, make it work, you know? And if you got to apologize in a way because the service wasn't exactly or the timely, you apologize, you stay humble, and you just keep working on it until you get it. So you smooth it on out. So that's where we're at right now. So I had set a process for my admin. We take these trips this certain way, we do these areas, blah, 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 blah. And then today we had a conversation. I was like, well, yeah, I know you're kind of confused and frustrated because the way we had designed it initially is not really flowing right now. But I explained, hey, we're transitioning right now. We got to be a little bit more aggressive and we got to be a little more flexible to make this work. And so just hold on for a little while. And we're going to get through this and we go to the next transition. It's like, okay, I understand. So now, you know, I'm taking a little more responsibility and we'll get through the transition and that's just how it works. It ain't about getting it right though.
Right. It's just getting it done. I like that.
It's getting it done and doing it consistently. People say, oh, your service is so great. You're always on time. And I always say to them, I appreciate that. We're not a perfect service, but we're consistent. And what that says to me is, I know that I could be the next business you're talking about negatively if I claim to be Jesus Christ or God here. I get crucified. Right. I don't want to be crucified. So I'm going to always say, hey, we're not perfect, but we try to be consistent. That's what we try to do.
And I'm going to say, Savante, you ain't a bad dude, man.
I am. I love it too.
You're eccentric, but you ain't bad.
No, I'm not bad in this sense. I'm not a murderer or anything like that.
Yeah. You
I like to have fun.
Boy, though. He's a wild
I like
man.
To have fun, man. I'm wild.
Very untamed. But
yes.
Oh, snap.
But yeah, man, that's I don't know. I thought this today's was a good topic to just
Yeah.
kind of go through, man, because I see so many people chasing stuff, man. We watch these documentaries and stuff and people get sucked in on like these pyramid type schemes and stuff, chasing the money. And whereas
Definitely.
it's so many gigs out there where you can be involved, you can make, easily $200, $500, $1,000 a day just by existing in the space. You don't even have to scale, honestly, if you're willing to work and grind and sweat. But that's any business that you operate, right? It's going to take some sort of grind, whether it's labor, physical, driving, picking up stuff, or sitting at the computer calling people, trying to convince people to buy. Sales is a grind in itself,
Man,
so
every day.
man, yeah, I fell in that real estate trap. It's like, man, I kind of felt like Devontae. It's like, man, it's a lot more people that like me better, likable people than me. I don't want to, even though I'm happy to help people, but at the same time, I want to go out and drink some Jack and,
yeah. Exactly.
I want to play by no limit.
Yeah.
Shoot, I don't want to be 100% pristine all the time, the face of anything. So,
Right. I totally get it. Yeah, I think that's the big thing, man. Like I think, like you said, everybody at the end of the day wants to have more money in their pocket if they can. You know what I mean? It's especially if you're in lower middle class, anything like that. Like you need more almost. If you're in lower class, so it's very tempting to get caught in some of those fly by night schemes. You know what I mean? Like you said, the pyramid schemes, the multi-level stuff, the whatever the case may be, because they show you the flashy part, but they don't show you the grind part. Don't help you understand that. But I think if you could just take that, literally just take that, get rid of the shiny stuff, take that same mentality and grind and put it in one of these, find some of these types of gigs or jobs that we've been talking about and put that same energy into that, and you can have that same thing. No, it won't look as good as it did when they had 30 people in there cheering your name and showing awards on the board or whatever the case may be, or giving away a pink Cadillac or whatever, you know what I mean? Like something like that. It's not gonna look as shiny, but it's gonna put that money in your pocket, and that money gonna look shiny.
Especially when you can walk away from the business and the business still runs without you. Oh my God. That's the part that is like, there are moments where initially in this business, I compared my work as a case manager when I was making $300, $400 a day case manager, but I was working freaking 12 hours a day case management, right? And I was like, I left that business at contracting, right? I left that contracting position because I knew that I made money, I made good money, but I couldn't scale it. It wasn't my business.
Yep.
I couldn't scale it. And initially, I'm not gonna lie, I was making $100 a week. $100 a week. But it grew. It is growing. It is growing, and it keeps growing. And before you know, you're like, dang. And my mom even reminded me. I was talking to my mom, I was complaining. She's like, "But boy, you're gonna scale that business.
Yep.
It's gonna." And I'm like, "You're right, Mom. It's about the scale. It ain't sexy because scaling don't really sound sexy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It don't sound sexy. But when you like Marcus, you got the numbers, and you say, I make this a day. Okay, I add this person a day. However you're gonna pay them, whether you're a contractor, whether an employee, you take their, how much you're gonna pay them, do those numbers, rework your overall expenses, and look at your revenue, and you start seeing that cash flow grow by every person you have in that position. You start the light bulb goes off,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it becomes a numbers game. Systems, processes, and numbers. And the higher the need, the more you can scale it. So it's like exponential potential there. It's just like really exciting, you know?
I
Now
caught
that
that
part
part.
exciting.
I caught that part.
The initial part is every morning, 4 a.m. every morning, 7 days a week, 4 a.m. Every single morning.
Gotta be ready though.
Every morning there, I can't not sleep in. I can't.
Mm.
I get up and I put a smile on my face. Sometimes I don't have a smile on my face, honestly.
Who can at 4 a.m, man? I don't blame you.
but my riders, they are very grateful, and they know I'm going to be there.
Right.
That's what it's about.
That's hella cool.
Hey, right on. Well, shoot, man, we're gonna go ahead and end this one on the high note, man. Definitely a good discussion this week. Next week, we're gonna commit on this live to talk about business credit repair, everything credit. So we'll have a little discussion walking through the credit report to building your profile out to getting ready to get funded. And so you can be one of these small business owners making $500 a day and hit that point where it's time to scale and be able to do so with no problem. So, once again, Triple Profit Podcast. Peace. Till next week.
Peace.